Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Ever since the Cold War integration took place, we've seen the meta in Warzone spread out quite a bit. And now that most of the Cold War attachments are working as intended, keyword most, there's honestly a lot of viable options when it comes to competitive weapons and class setups. And today, we're breaking down the best weapon and in turn, the best loadout for every single category in the game. At least every category that actually has attachments. Obviously, launchers and melees aren't going to be included in here because there's no sniper scope on the riot shield or monolithic suppressor on the RPG. But anyways, if you enjoy the video or if you just find it helpful, let me know by dropping a like on it. Let's aim for 4,000 likes today. And of course, if you're new here, on average, apparently about 20,000 people a day are watching the videos for the first time. So if that's you, feel free to subscribe. That way you can stay up to date with everything going on in COD. News, intel, setups, updates, it's all right here. Now, first up, let's start with the pistols, the only real secondary class here. And in my opinion, the best pistol we currently have is that of the DIAMATTI. To be honest, I'm not really using pistols a ton right now, unless maybe I'm coming back from the gulag or a buyback and I need my loadout with restock on it real quick. However, if you are looking for a secondary, the DIAMATTI is definitely solid. Now, when it comes to attachments here, first up, you gotta have the agency suppressor. That extra range and velocity is gonna be great, and of course, you're not showing up on the minimap either. Then I've got the reinforced heavy barrel for some extra range and velocity once more. The 5mm laser, since you can actually mill people with just hipfire on this, even without a kimbo, it'll actually be pretty accurate. Then I've got the 30-round fast mag on there because, honestly, why not? And finally, the speed tape grip, since you don't really need any other attachments. Akimbo really isn't a great option anymore, and the optics aren't really usable or necessary either. And for what it's worth, the speed tape does actually help with recoil control a bit, and it gives you a very, very minor mobility increase as well. Then moving on into the sniper category, here I've got the Tundra from Cold War. But honestly, this category is pretty competitive. I mean, the HDR and the AX50 are both really, really good. The Pellington can be viable if you have the right attachments on it and you learn the bullet drop and whatnot. But when it comes down to it, the Tundra is just so good in so many different ways. For one, it is the best long-range sniper in the entire game simply because it's the easiest to learn. With the right attachments on here, you can end up getting the best velocity possible out of any sniper in the game. That means you're not going to have to combat as much bullet drop when shooting over range, and same deal with leading shots as well. You don't have to actually have a huge lead a lot of the time because that velocity is just so good. So ultimately, the potential here we could say is just insane. If you can master the Tundra, it's ridiculously good to use. Plus, its damage is great. It's a one-shot headshot. It's strong to the body and the chest as well. And to top it all off, you can hide your glint on it. So enemies aren't going to be able to see you as easily in head-on engagements, which can give you a pretty big advantage in any given fight. So when it comes to these attachments, I'm running the wrap suppressor for better velocity and obviously some seclusion on the minimap. The combat recon barrel for better velocity as well. Those are really the must-have attachments here. I've got the bipod on there, the 7-round mag for a bit of extra ammo, then finally the Royal and Cross 4x scope, which won't have any glint, so that is another key component in this setup. Then next up, we've got the Marksman rifles, and for me, this is a clear and obvious one. The CAR is the king. I mean, if it were in the sniper category, I'd probably put the CAR over the Tundra there just based off of my personal bias for it, but the CAR is just so good for sniping. There's a reason it's in like the top 5 most popular weapons in Warzone right now, and has been on that list for quite some time. It's fast, it's strong, it's got a lot of really good options for attachments. So, like I said, this one is a no-brainer. The CAR is absolutely the best option in this category. Now for the attachments, I've got the standard setup of the monolithic suppressor, the 27.6-inch barrel for better range and velocity, the tac laser for better speed and stability, the sniper scope with the cross-thread reticle, then finally the comb stock for some better stability as well. Now, following that, we've got the tac rifles, and again, I think there is a very, very clear winner here. It's the AUG. Right now, I am loving this gun. It's just so strong, so effective in medium range fights. Like really, this is going to dominate medium range fights day in and day out right now. It's like a 2 to 3 burst kill the vast majority of the time, so it's just great all around. It's not too slow, it's got a great fire rate, not too much of a burst delay in there. There really isn't any major cons with the AUG outside of the fact that close range, it can be a bit awkward, but hey, that's why you got secondaries at the end of the day, right? Anyways, for the attachments here, I'd recommend the agency silencer once more, the strike team barrel, the field agent grip, the 45-round drum, then finally the 3x optic to close things out. Then getting into the LMGs, This one may come as a bit of a surprise, but I've actually got the BRUEN. Now yes, the BRUEN was nerfed some months ago and people started to move around to other weapons at that time, but honestly, it's still insanely good. The damage drop-off is incredibly forgiving, so you can use it at all ranges. It's incredibly mobile and fast for it being an LMG. Its control, even with the 60-round mags, really isn't bad whatsoever, so while it's nowhere near the broken BRUEN that we had a few months back, it is still incredibly viable, and I would almost argue that it is a meta weapon, despite there being some more popular choices out there right now. So here I'm running the monolithic suppressor, the summit barrel for better range and control, the tac laser, the spicy blue dot hollow sight, then also the 60-round mags for that insane mobility. Now, in the shotgun category, I've got the best choice being the GALLO, but honestly, shotguns in the current meta just aren't super popular, I would say. Like there's no R90 fire doof version equivalent right now, just because so much of this meta is based around either sniping or just close range dominance. So shotguns don't really have a great place right now. But on the GALLO, I've got the agency choke, the reinforced heavy barrel for better range, then also a faster fire rate, the 5mW laser, since obviously hip fire is going to be huge on a shotgun, the 9-round tube, but then also the marathon stock is on there as well for some better mobility. Now, moving on into the SMG category, as it stands, the Big Mac 10 is the go-to choice. It's got some surprising range for an SMG, it's got great close range damage, almost no recoil even without a grip, and then also great mobility. So you've got a ton of pros with no real cons, making it a very clear and obvious choice as the best sub that we've currently got in my mind. And on it, you do have some options. Currently, I've got the agency suppressor, the task force barrel, the target designator for some better range, the 53-round drum and no stock. However, you could always run the combat stock or the raider stock instead of no stock. And then also, if you really wanted to, you could swap out the target designator for something like the field agent grip. Obviously, that'll give you a bit better control in some of those medium range fights. However, just based off of using it so much at this point, I don't really find it necessary. And then finally, we've got the assault rifles. And let me tell you, here it is extremely close between the AMAX and the FFAR, but I do think I'm going to go FFAR right now just because it's close and medium range TTK is so good, and even its damage over range is pretty wild. Obviously though, it's just a bit harder to hit those shots because the recoil is going to be a lot more noticeable at a longer range, but the mobility, the fire rate, the damage, it's just all so good comparatively, and the only real competition it has is that AMAX with its damage over range. But for the time being, I'm going FFAR for the best rifle. Now, here I've got the agency suppressor, the ranger barrel, the field agent grip, the 50-round fast mag, and then either the raider stock or the combat stock as that 5th attachment. Obviously, for the remainder of any of these setups, you can combine quite a few of these, FFAR car, Mac 10 AUG, so on and so forth. Just sort of mix and match as you please. Then for the perks and equipment, I've got the usual EOD, overkill and amped to start. Then I get EOD, restock and amped in that second loadout, alongside the Semtex and the stuns as well. So yeah, there you have it. With all of that being said, those are the best weapons and also the best loadouts in every category we have here in Warzone right now, and that's gonna wrap things up for today. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And of course, if you're new here and you want to stay up to date with pretty much everything going on in COD, from news to intel to updates and everything else in between, it's all right here. So feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. That way you'll always know whenever I upload a new video. As always, if you want to check out any of my partners, be sure to use code WhosImmortal for a discount on all Scuff, G Fuel, and Control Freak products. The links for those can be found down in the description below. But once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.